There's a war going on. Good versus evil. Light against darkness. Truth against lies. I'm talking about the war in your head.
There's enough in my past to be ashamed of. Some decisions I wish I hadn't made. Some stuff I wish I could go back and fix. Some things I wish I could unsay. Some words I wish I could put back in my mouth. Some actions I wish I had never taken, but they're in my past. And I'm not going to let you hold up my past as a mirror when God wants me to use it as a window.
When the enemy puts you under pressure, he thinks that's going to stop you. What he doesn't realize is all that's going to do is cause you to shoot out further. When you feel restricted, don't be discouraged. Get ready to shoot out. Get ready for new levels. That pressure is not going to stop you. It's going to increase you.
My past is not to be held up as a mirror to remind me of what I used to be, but it's a window for me to look back through and say, I ain't going back that way no more.
Whatever you repeat, you reinforce. Maybe you're in a situation right now, you're like, I hate where I am. The problem in my life is where I am. I hate my relationships. I hate the way I feel. I hate where I am. And what begins to happen to us is we start to think the problem is where we are. But your problem is not where you are. Your problem is where are you headed?
The truth is, we grow in the difficult times. That's when our character is developed. That's when we discover talent, confidence, courage that we didn't even know we had.
Trying to encourage you tonight that every gap in my life is giving me hope that I am still becoming, that I am not done growing yet, that the story is not over. Anybody thankful that you haven't stopped growing? But this year, it doesn't have to look like last year. You can become more.
But you have to do something important. Forgive yourself. Quit dwelling on everything you've done wrong. Quit replaying your failures. Quit reliving your mistakes.
Devote yourself to something bigger. Be decisive about what you're going to do. Say, I'm going to do it, and that's it. And then be disciplined about getting it done every single day, whether you feel like it or not.
It works if you work it. Decide that you're going to start working on that dream. Now, there will be people that will criticize you. There will be people that won't see it for you. But I say to you, don't let them turn you around. Don't let nobody turn you around. That's key, because people will try and turn you around. That's real.
Every hero you guys had was called an idiot, crazy, a loser. You must break society's status quo. Status quo is normality. It's alive but not living. It's death on a stick, guys. The belief of the individual can overcome thousands of followers. One person with a belief overrides thousands of people with just intent.
You can actually change the direction of your life. Life is not designed where you just wake up and see how it go and you react. You actually have a say-so. You have a determining voice into where your life can go. See, life is 10% what happens to you. It's 90% what you do about it. See, you get tripped out because you got dirt on you, but you need dirt on you to develop, because dirt ain't just dirt. Dirt is fertilizer. Dirt gives you the strength for your seed to push through. See, you got to have dirt on you to push through something.
Safety, comfort zones are dead zones because your true potential will never be matched, guys.
See, you get mad when haters come your way. You get mad because you get a setback. You get mad because you get a detour. That's just dirt. You get mad because they talking about you. That's dirt. You got to have dirt on you to grow into what God got for you. Quit tripping.
Every day is a new day, a new week, a new shot at life. An opportunity to come out of the gate like a man possessed and attack the day without mercy. Today, I'm taking scalps. I'm putting the pressure on. I am the aggressor. I am on the attack. Because I will not stop.
Where the mind goes, the man follows. If you don't like your life, go home, have a meeting with yourself, and think about what you have been thinking about. Instead of blaming it on everything else, have a meeting with yourself and just ask yourself if it's time for you to get rid of your stinking thinking. Amen.
Life goes on. You have to keep living. Life goes on. I've watched people allow a failure in their life, then produce fear in them. Fear is not just an emotion. Fear is a spirit. When a person has a spirit of fear, they're scared of everything. They're scared of the dark. They're scared to be alone. They just have unreasonable, ungrounded fears. That spirit of fear will paralyze your life. It'll stop your movement, and you're designed to keep it moving.
Be ready for tomorrow by doing all that you can today. Set a goal that will make you stretch for what it will make of you to achieve it. What an all-encompassing challenge to have a better vision of the future, to see what it will make of you to achieve it. The greatest value in life is not what you get. The greatest value in life is what you become. It's not what you get that makes you valuable. It's what you become that makes you valuable. Set the kind of goals that will make something of you to achieve them. So there you have the two components of positive self-direction. Self-knowledge, knowing who you are and what you want to do with your life. And number two, self-preparation, getting ready for the opportunities before they come your way. Being ready, being worthy, becoming the person you need to be in pursuit of what you want.
Do as much planning as you can. Dig in and plan every detail that you can plan. The most important part of a plan, the thing that makes a plan the most effective, is its flexibility. And making a plan that is so flexible that when you do the actual operation and you come up against unexpected things, which are absolutely going to happen, you have the flexibility, you have options, you have contingency plans to deal with.
Most people, in order to feel significant, make things really complex so they feel like they're really unique and special, but complexity is the enemy of execution. The more complex you make it, the more likely you are not going to follow through.
So plan as much as you can, but the problem is, with all that emphasis on planning, sometimes people become obsessed with planning and they don't want to execute. And if they do execute, they execute late. They miss their opportunity. That's why Patton said a good plan, violently executed now, is better than a perfect plan executed next week. Come up with a good plan. Don't come up with a perfect plan that takes you 2 weeks to come up with. That's not going to help you.
It's you first. It starts with you, and it starts with your psychology. 80% of growing a business, if you look at what the chokehold is on a business, it's always the leader. And 80% of that chokehold is the psychology, and 20% is the mechanics. I mean, people in this room know the mechanics and strategies beyond what anybody on earth knows in their category. So it's really about you being in the state where you execute. Execution trumps knowledge every day of the week. And so my life is, how do you get yourself to execute? And execution comes from learning to put yourself in that right state every day.
Where you have so much joy, you bring joy everywhere you go. You have so many resources that you can help those around you. You may not have seen this yet, but God is about to do a new thing. You need to get ready. Overflow is coming. You're going to overflow with creativity, with ideas, with talent. Overflow with influence, promotion, resources, where you can come out of debt, where you can lend and not have to borrow. Things may not be flowing in your life right now, but God knows where all the treasures are. He knows how to put you at the right place at the right time. He knows not only what you need, but He knows when you're going to need it. Don't discount small opportunities, small gifts, small income. May seem small to you, but God knows how to multiply.
So if you can't control something and you can't get control of it, you have to at least embrace what you can. There's only so much you can do, and you cannot completely eliminate it. But you can't control it, so why are you going to worry about it? Why are you going to stress about it? If there's something that's completely beyond your control, you've got to detach from it and not let yourself get stressed about it.
Dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately fuel disappointment. Dreams without goals, yearly goals, life goals, daily goals, monthly goals, hourly goals, goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. You understand?
Someone's gonna get the candy in life. There's always candy in life. That piñata eventually always breaks down. Do you want to be the person who was there in the beginning, hitting as hard as you could and sacrificing and never get the candy? Or are you gonna get something for your pain? Are you gonna get something for your effort? Are you gonna get something for this sacrifice you're making? You gotta get something for this pain. You gotta stick in the game until the candy comes out, and then we all get to celebrate. I promise you there's gonna be a payoff for you.
The big challenge is to make something out of each opportunity. Now, if winters are always going to occur in our life, shouldn't we benefit from them too? Come the next winter, you could be on the inside looking out, seated by a warm fire, the company of a good friend, and those unique feelings of security in spite of the circumstances or the season.
What force has the greatest influence on us? It is the freedom to choose.
What changes our whole life is action. Why don't we take action? Fear. What do we got to do to get ourselves to do it? We got to make sure that we push ourselves through it by making a decision. The point in which change happens is a decision. People go, what does it take to change? Decide. We go, oh, God, sounds so simple and so basic. It was that easy, you'd already done it, Mr. Robbins. No, it is that easy and you're still not doing it because you are not putting yourself in a state to decide. See, a real decision is not like a preference. It's not like where you say, I'll try it and see. That's not a decision. Decision comes from Latin. It means like incision, to cut off from. Decision is when you cut off any possibility except the thing you committed to. It's like, that is it. All change happens with a choice. You want to change your body? Change it by making a decision. I know it sounds overly simplistic. I know it's 100 times harder than that, but that's where it happens. People shit all over themselves. I should fall through. I should spend time with my kids. I should do this thing at work. Shooting doesn't change it. When it's a must, human beings find the way. It's a must when you say, I'm burning the boats. I'm talking about a real decision where you will not go back. You want to take the island? Burn the frickin' boats.
You have to be honest with yourself and truthful with yourself. And I think a lot of times what it is for me, I was expecting things from people that I wasn't giving to people. And so that's very selfish, you know? So I had to look at myself and say, you know what, this part of my personality needs to be changed, it needs to be fixed. So it's that reality that you have to have with yourself and that truthfulness, and not knowing that it doesn't make you weak by admitting these things. It doesn't make you less by admitting these things.
Credit goes to our awesome patrons who make videos like this one possible. Consider joining them to support our work. You can also support us by subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell button to get notified when our new videos are released. And as always, thank you for watching.
And letting go of fear is the key thing. And when you get to that point where you're observing your mind and you're observing your emotions instead of being them, it's amazing how fear, and I can only talk for myself and talking to other people who've been through it, fear starts to leave you. Because what is there to fear when you've reached that point, not only of realization, but of observing the world from a point of view of that which is always has been, always will be, infinite consciousness, eternal consciousness, which is what we are. The other thing that it holds us in servitude is insecurity. How many people are always put a mask to the world? It's not who they really are. It's what they think other people think they should be. So instead of putting ourselves to the world, we put this mask to the world that we think is acceptable to the world. Consciousness does not do insecurity, and it certainly doesn't do putting masks on to fulfill other people's perceptions of what you should be. Consciousness is all possibility. It is all potential. You know, people think about, one consciousness, and they think, oh, that means, yeah, I'm one consciousness, yeah, I'm one consciousness, I'm one consciousness. If it's some clone-like state, consciousness, in the form that I'm talking about at the infinite level of us, is all possibility. Therefore, when we celebrate our uniqueness and celebrate our diversity and celebrate the diversity and uniqueness of each other, we are celebrating the fact that we are infinite consciousness, because we're celebrating all possibility. What happens is when we get caught in mind, that's when you get the clone. Yeah, I'm mind. Yeah, I'm mind. Yes, I'm mind. All the bloody clones line up, all look the same and all the rest of it, and speak the same and think the same. That's mind. So, celebrating uniqueness and being conscious are the same things. And that's why if you look, the more mind has taken over, the more this earth has become more and more uniform. And as we become more and more conscious, we will be celebrating diversity, and diversity will start to return in the way we live our lives. The key thing to breaking the spell is breaking out of belief systems. It's a good question. What would consciousness do? How would consciousness see this? Well, like I said earlier, consciousness doesn't do religion, because religion is a mind phenomenon that sees everything in terms of apartness and rules and regulations and all the rest of it. Consciousness doesn't do that. So religion's out. If we are going to be conscious, then religion's gone. Politics, well, consciousness vote? I mean, what's going on? Consciousness doesn't do belief systems like politics, so that's gone, that belief system. Race, it doesn't do race. You know, the human form is just a vehicle for consciousness to experience this reality. It doesn't do my genetic spacesuit is better than yours, and because yours is a different color or comes from a different background, I'm better than you, and I'm the master race, or I'm the chosen race, and all the rest of it. Consciousness doesn't do that. Mind does that. When we think in those terms, we're in mind, not consciousness. And self-identity. If we have a self-identity that says, I am my body, and I am my name, and that is me, that is who I am, we're in mind. When we say my name and my body and my life is my experience, the experience of my consciousness, then we're recognizing who we really are, which is consciousness having an experience.
Yep. Why do you think these people see the media as being so important? You know, the reality is quite different. You know, the media isn't really important. It's how we use it. It's how we view it. You know, the reality is that we, as a society, in this hypnotized and almost catatonic and comatose state, we have given our free will for everything that's going on. We've given our free will consent to the state the planet is in today. Most people in modern societies, I mean, you know, we saturate our minds with all sorts of unhealthy things that are not good for us. I mean, things that are served up for us on television. And people are quite addicted to their televisions. Most people spend their time consuming violence, pornography, greed, selfishness, hatred, you know, incessant bad news and fear and terror. I mean, when was the last time a lot of people out there just stopped and thought about something really, really beautiful and really pure? You know, something wonderful that really warms your heart and puts that energy into the field. You know, when was the last time you stopped and did that. The planet is the way it is because of our collective thoughts about the planet. And those people out there who don't affect positive change, they are complicit in their inaction. And every time you look the other way when you see an injustice, your thought at the subconscious level of creation to the Creator is your allowance of these things to occur. And in so doing, you're serving the wrong purpose. Those who think violent thoughts against those whom they perceive to be the rulers of this world, be careful what you wish for, folks, because all thoughts and words are creative. And there was a statement I read somewhere, I'm not sure who it was by, that said, in order to choose the positive path, at least 51% of our thoughts and actions must be dedicated to the service of others. But for the negative path, at least 95% of our thoughts and actions must be directed towards self-service. And between those 2 points lies the sinkhole of indifference. And it's truly a sinkhole, folks. Indifference is the vein of consciousness, to lead you down a path of repetition that becomes ever more negative. You know, it's the will to serve self, and it becomes ever more negative and polarized. But negativity is necessary, folks. It's very important, for without negativity, there can be no positivity, and without the negative, there can't be the positive. It's all about free will and freedom of choice, my friends. And if negativity did not exist, there would be no choice, because there would be nothing for us to choose between. It's all about service to self or service to others. That's the whole thing about this life, service to self or service to others. Do the right thing in all that you do, or do what is right for you personally. That's the choice, folks. And it's a pretty easy choice to make once you begin to understand this sort of thing. I choose service to others. And I don't try to wake up people to the reality of these things out of fear. I don't try to wake people up to what's going on in the world because I'm worried about the future. I do it because I love you. I do it because I love you all. I truly do. I've never met a person that I didn't love, even the most negative. You know, some people will just say these are evil people. I don't see them as evil. I see them as polarized. And it's necessary for them to be that way. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't be that way. Because having these polarized energies in the world is the only way that consciousness can ascend into something more positive.
So can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses yet, but you've thought about enough times in your mind that your brain is literally changed to look like the event has already happened? Neuroscience says it's absolutely possible. Now, your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. It's that simple. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So the present personality who's sitting here today, you, has created the present personal reality called your life. Would you agree? Would you also agree then, if you wanted to create a new personal reality, that on a fundamental level you would have to change the thoughts that you are thinking, the behaviors and habits that you're demonstrating, and the emotions that you've memorized that's become part of your identity? And most people try to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it never works. We have to become somebody else. So then, as you keep thinking the same thoughts, performing the same actions, and living by the same experiences that produce the same emotions, there's a principle in neuroscience that says nerve cells that fire together wire together. And if you keep repeating the same states of mind and body over and over again, your brain begins to fire in the same sequences, in the same patterns and same combinations. And whenever you make your brain work in a certain way, that's called mind. Mind is the brain in action. So as you remind yourself every day who you think you are, you're causing your brain to fire in the exact same ways. And as they fire and wire in the same patterns over time, the brain moves into a very finite signature, and that's called your personality. Now, that box in your brain isn't literally a box, but it's the most commonly wired, neurologically fired programs that run redundantly because we keep doing the same things over and over again. To change your mind, then, is to make the brain work in new sequences and new patterns and new combinations, to begin to make the brain work differently. And the one ingredient that allows us to do that is knowledge or information. Because every time you learn something new, you make a new connection in your brain. That's what learning is. Learning is forging new connections. Remembering is maintaining or sustaining those connections. So now, every time you have a thought, you make a chemical. And if you have a great thought, or an unlimited thought, or a joyful thought, you turn on a set of circuits in your brain that fires in a very specific sequence, pattern, and combination that produces a level of mind that turns on another part of the brain that makes a chemical for you to begin to feel exactly the way you were just thinking. Great or unlimited or joyful.
I wish that I could tell you that the load you carry will get lighter. It won't. As time passes, you'll find it will get heavier. The mountain that you need to climb will get higher. The ocean that you need to cross will get wider. Trust me when I tell you that you don't want to wait. Indecision is a decision.
Was the only person that didn't have a window. They literally put me in the room with all the computer servers. But starting from there, I knew I could wow people because I was willing to grind it out.
And Carl, our videographer, had his family over, and we live around, at that time we lived around the corner from each other. Now we live on the same block. Random, right? Christmas was over, we're just going to the house, just eating dinner. It just was a random night.
A decision to fail, a decision to waste your potential. Time won't wait for you. Time doesn't wait for anyone. The clock keeps ticking in life. There are no timeouts, no breaks, and no rest stops. Remember something else, that if plan A doesn't work, there are 25 other letters in the alphabet. This isn't 3 strikes and you're out. This isn't baseball, it's the real world. And that means there's no limit on how many times you're allowed to try.
And that is one of the most valuable things that anybody can do. All right, now that company, we grew to the point where in 2010, it was a technology company. It was named as the 42nd fastest growing technology company in North America. I had suffered a lot. I hadn't taken a day off in like 6.5 years, except for Christmas, in fairness. I wouldn't let my wife go on a vacation because I was so hell-bent to get rich. And then I realized, almost 8.5 years in, here we are. We've just been named the 42nd fastest growing technology company in North America. We're making money, we're winning awards. Beautiful conference room overlooking the Pacific Ocean, and I turn to my partners and I say, I'm completely miserable, I quit.
The only time your dream dies is when you decide to quit. You need to be ready for what's to come. When the darkness sets in, when you feel like you can't take another step forward, believe in yourself. You will keep going, you will persevere. You will weather the storm. Trust in yourself, the kind of trust a bird has. You see, the bird doesn't put its trust in the branch. It puts its trust in its own wings. So when the branch breaks, it can still fly. Again, you can weather any storm. You can withstand anything the world throws at you. Remember that the safest path brings the least reward. Stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start believing in what could go right. There may be 1,000,000 reasons you're afraid to follow your dreams, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't go after what your heart desires. Dare to face your fears. Dare to take risks. Dare to be better.
And I hand back your equity. I'm not going to cross the finish line. I don't think I should get anything for that. And they said what are now famous words for me: we could do this without you, but we don't want to. And in that moment, I realized what had been missing. I realized the reason I was living the cliche of money can't buy happiness. I was realizing why what Tony Robbins says about success without fulfillment being the worst kind of failure was because what I cared about was connection. I'd gotten into it and gotten to know these guys, And along the way had become so myopically focused on this promise I'd made to myself as a kid that I never stopped to ask, why do I want to get rich? What is it that I plan to do with the money? The money in and of itself, it's inert. It just sits there. I'm sure you guys have a bunch of it in your pocket right now and it doesn't do anything, but it has latent potential. But the question is, what are you going to do with that potential?
Don't let pride confuse your tears. You've got to let that out. Sometimes you've got to let it go. When I lost my mom years ago, that was the hardest thing that I had to deal with. And to this day, I still think about that woman that gave me life. And I have my moments when I'm happy about the good times, but I also have my moments when she left this world. But that's just one thing. That's just one circumstance. There are many circumstances I can talk about, but I continue to move on. Everybody gets knocked down no matter how tough you think you are, you're going to fall. And when you fall, sometimes you fall real hard.
And somehow we got to talking, and Carl's wife is from Barbados, and she didn't have citizenship. So unfortunately, she was in the States without citizenship, and so she had to stay in school in order to eventually get her citizenship. So she did her master's degree, and she was in her PhD. And it was weird. It was just like, yo, E.T., I don't know how it happened, but it was like, yo, E.T., my wife is going to get her degree before you get yours. Right? I'm an American citizen. Like, I had already been in the program for a few years, and, she, and it was, I don't know, but have you ever heard, like, when it's your time?
Ground is a hard surface, and I'm going to tell you something, it ain't going to move because you're laying on it, so you need to rise up, and you need to rise above it, and you need to start moving when you get knocked down. How long are you going to stay down? When you lose your job, when you lose that loved one, regardless if it's your husband, your wife, your child, whatever it is, do you have the ability to go through the hurt and the pain of that loss regardless of what you're going through? The best time you know that you are strong is when you're at the weakest point of your life. When you are so far down at home, you're looking up and you don't see no light, but yet you know there's an end to this darkness. That's when you'll find out just how strong you really are. This is a process, and you have to hurt just a little bit so you can understand what it means to be strong.
Like, it's that moment. It's like, enough is enough. I can't tell you. People have asked me before, Eric, when you get your PhD? I'm like, I'll get it done. E.T., how far are you in the process? Finish all my coursework. I just got to write the dissertation. But it was something about that night that was different. It was almost the end of the year. And I remember Carl, listen to me very closely, guys. I'm being real with you. I didn't even have a conversation with Carl. Like, we never even talked about it afterwards. I never said anything to him about it, but I felt this guilt. I felt like this embarrassment. Like, and for real, he wasn't like speaking directly to me. He was just saying, hey, E, I think my wife's probably gonna finish her degree before you finish yours. And I'm talking about like it pierced. Like it pierced, and I just remember like we were talking afterwards, and I didn't hear anything. Like, bro, have you ever been in a conversation and it just shifts, and somebody's talking to you, and like you can't hear the words that are coming out of their mouth? I didn't hear anything he said. I just kept it like, E, when are you gonna get this done, E?
Misery. It will continue to do all that is necessary to succeed. Misery is on a mission to take everything away from you because your mind is very powerful. Bring in the goodness, moving with a purpose, conditioning your mind is what this is about. Today is that day. And when and if tomorrow comes for you, be even more powerful. Be stronger than you've ever been.
Don't give up on your hopes. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on yourself. Just keep moving forward. If you think that you're going through something so bad right now, wait until tomorrow. If tomorrow comes for you, look at the person next to you. Look at people all over the world. If you ever come in contact with certain individuals, and ask yourself if they're going through a lot more than what I'm going through, because honestly, there are always going to be people that are going through a lot more than you're going through right now. When you're down, find a way to get up. I've been there. I go through it like anybody else, but I have a job to do in this world, and so do you. Self-discipline comes from within. It's a desire. It's being able to understand that you've got to get the work in.
Rectify in yourself. Believe in yourself. Keep that faith in yourself. Don't let the outside interference stop your growth. Don't let those that doubted you and said that you did not have it hold you back. Don't let the losses keep you down. Because if you're down, how would you understand what it means to get up? What is good about being miserable? What is misery doing for you? What has misery done for you lately? Has it given you everything that you need? Has it made you a better person?
You got to be willing to go further and harder than you've ever gone in your life. You can't depend on all the mechanical things, the alarm clock, your cell phone, or sometimes even people, sometimes it's just you. You got to be willing to wake up and be about your business on a daily basis. Let's just save for it. Example, you're the type of person that can't seem to get away from all of the cravings you can't do. This without this, you can't do this without that. You need your coffee, you can't stop. Eating chocolate, all of these things you keep saying that you can't do. Well, let me remind you, can never do anything for you in the first place. So discipline starts with you. You have to be willing to be hungry.
Having self-confidence is difficult. I would lie to your face if I said otherwise. It would be easy to tell you that having self-confidence is easy and give you a few simple steps so that you can achieve it. But it is not, although not for that reason it is impossible. With this in mind, there is a long way to go, and all you have to do is work on yourself. To a lesser extent, not having self-confidence means a sign of humility, an alarm that shows us that we are not perfect and we must continue to improve, nor are we better than anyone else. Because we always tend to see successful people with 100% confidence in themselves, who then end up being a blind look at themselves. Let's think about it in this way. What's the use of having confidence and self-esteem if you're not even really looking at yourself in the mirror? In this life, and in the eyes of God, you must always remain humble, because everything that goes up, if it is in the wrong hands, must come down. But now, it's one thing to have a little low self-confidence, but quite another to cross the barrier where you think you shouldn't be alive, and you don't have confidence in your projects and goals in life. I will tell you the truth. You deserve that, and much more, because every day you fight an endless battle, from the moment you wake up and get out of bed until you lay your head onto the pillow. You know well that you carry out both an external and internal war, so you know more than anyone that you deserve what you want. In this way, you must reinforce that confidence in yourself. Because just as you perceive yourself, do not doubt that they will perceive you in the same way. And if you have more security in your steps, you will be able to change the way people see you, and they will respect you more. As Mark Twain said, a man cannot be comfortable without his own approval. You are the only person who can define who you are, and you have the key to trust yourself. No one will come to your house and give you compliments, or give you the magic formula for you to realize your worth. The mere fact of wanting to have more confidence in yourself realizes that you want to improve. And that is something positive, because the person who thinks that he is complete is the one who has the most problems, because he is a fool and blinded by his own compliments. Self-confidence is not just a state of mind, it is a change in your whole being. As Oprah Winfrey said, it is confidence in our bodies, minds, and spirits that allows us to keep looking for new adventures. You already know that the physical is not everything, but it does change your point of view a lot when looking at yourself in the mirror. Don't lie to me. Every time you dress in those clothes or dresses that you like the most, you feel so much better, right? So use that to your advantage. Wear clothes that you like and make you feel comfortable and beautiful. Cut your hair, change your look, make a radical change, and show the world that you want to live like never before. Life is beautiful, and nobody is going to live it in your place, so take charge of your life and have that confidence that you are missing, and you will know that the world will be completely different. Also, not having self-confidence is an eternal limitation in your life, and there are some things that will prevent you from doing it if you don't change your way of being for the better. If you want to party with your friends and you don't have much self-confidence, you limit yourself to being in a corner and you won't enjoy anything, or you won't be able to meet the love of your life. You couldn't do big projects either because you'll doubt yourself. At that moment, you should automatically say, yes, I am worth this and much more, because I am capable of managing this and carrying out my projects and being successful. Believe me, as soon as you try and get over that damn barrier, everything will be easier, and it will seem like you will have a streak of good luck for the amazing things that happen to you. But of course, it is not magic. You will be the one who puts the machinery into operation, and it will be life that gets to work for you to achieve your dreams. Because you know those dreams are worth it. So, if you fall, get up again and again and again.